do the same. Holy is the Lord, and mighty is his name. Holy is the Lord, and mighty is his name. King of heaven, and down to earth he came. Angels sing his praise, all earth shall do the same. Holy is the Lord, and mighty is his name. Holy is the Lord, and mighty is his name. King of heaven, and down to earth he came. Angels sing his praise, all earth shall do the same. Holy is the Lord, and mighty is his name. Holy is the Lord, and mighty is his name. King of heaven, and down to earth he came. Angels sing his praise, and all earth shall do the same. For holy is the Lord, and mighty is his name. Clothe me, O Lord, in your glory. Clothe me, O Lord, with your truth. Clothe me, O Lord, in your fullness. Clothe me, O Lord, in you. Clothe me, O Lord, with your glory. Clothe me, O Lord, with your truth. Clothe me, O Lord, in your fullness. Clothe me, O Lord, in you. Clothe me, O Lord, with your glory. Clothe me, O Lord, with your truth. Clothe me, O Lord, in your fullness. Clothe me, O Lord, in you. Clothe me, O Lord, with your glory. Clothe me, O Lord, with your bless the Lord and give you glory. I will bless the Lord and give him glory. I will bless the Lord and give him glory. I will bless the Lord and give him glory. I will bless you, Lord, and give you glory. I will bless your name and give you glory. And I will bless you, Lord, and give you glory. I will bless your name and give you glory. I will give you glory. Yes, I'll give you glory.
I think it's recording. It should be like a dot showing on the screen. Yeah, a red dot on the viewfinder. Okay, cool. Well, good morning. I've got my candles lit up this morning. Thank you, Raven, for lighting the fire.
Don't ever say that in public.
Oh, I just did. The fake fire, there we go. Anyway, it does look nice. Well, I didn't get a chance to do part of an exam during the conference, so guess what? I did that too low. We get to do part of the exam. That's right. Tested. Cool. Those who participate typically pass in my classes. Those who don't, well, turn in their notes and barely pass. All right. So one of the things that I didn't get to touch on we've been in 1 Corinthians. Yeah, still in 1 Corinthians, or was it 2 Corinthians? Was it 1 Corinthians or 2 Corinthians? I can't remember. One of the Corinthians, I think it was 1 Corinthians, excuse me, I think it was 1 Corinthians, and the church in Corinth was accusing Paul of not being, quote unquote, approved of God. Go figure. The vessel that the Lord chose to declare the gospel, and those who received the gospel were born again by a miracle of God. These same ones who the Judaizers had kind of basically got their minds in a tizzy, looking at outward evidence, they began even questioning Paul's authority, whether Paul himself was sent of God. Well, of course, when you take the thought and just take it to its extreme, it's like, if Paul had not been sent of God, then the Corinthian church is not the Corinthian church at all. It's just a group of people that gathered together. Does that make sense? Did you guys catch that? Yeah, so it's like, but how did they get that way? Well, these brethren called Judaizers, and They were believers. They were Judaizers, but they were believers. They were not non-believers. They were believers. Believers that still looked for outward evidence of some sort. They wanted outward, they wanted outward evidence. They didn't want to walk by faith. They wanted to see something outward as proof that God had done something, or they wanted to see something outward as proof that God was doing something. And so, of course, when they, show up and with the Corinthian church, they're, miracle signs and wonders and, going for that, they're excited because it's a bunch of outward evidence. And so Paul, on the other hand, he left outward evidence when the only true evidence appeared in his soul, who is Christ himself. He left pushing outward circumcision of the flesh when he, by a miracle of God himself performed an operation upon his heart and circumcised his heart, what man couldn't do. So Paul left all of that. And since he was so extreme in it, he was a Pharisee. He persecuted the church. That's how zealous he was for the quote-unquote law as he understood the law to be, and the traditions of the fathers. And so with all that, as extreme as he was, when Christ appears, when he's born again, he's exactly the extreme the other way. Because everything that he was trying to achieve and trying to have others achieve in the flesh, which is basically acceptance with God, Christ, the Son of the living God, alone achieved. And this one who achieved all that God was looking for, God the Father himself made to be the life of the soul. So Paul wasn't trying to do anything else. There was no more doing. He saw it exactly as that. If Christ has fulfilled the law, if Christ has been the ultimate one and only sacrifice that God only accepts, then why are we doing anything else? Why are we still trying to do the outward motions that God had instituted for a time, but that time came to an end when the person, the substance of all of those things that they were declaring showed up, when Jesus showed up. And so Paul's going with another extreme. Then that extreme is Christ having fulfilled all things, Christ being the fulfillment of all things that God has ever declared and promised in the Scriptures. And not only this one being the fulfillment of all things, and this one and only this one being God's only satisfaction by a miracle, gracious miracle, and mercy of God, this very one is in the soul of the believer. And Paul understood that. And so these Judaizers, their hearts had not yet come in knowledge by the Spirit of God. Well, their hearts had not yet come unto God's very own knowledge by the Spirit of God. Their hearts had continued to excel in I did that wrong. Sorry. Their hearts continued to excel in natural knowledge, and they were just adding Jesus to it. We've heard this, we know this. Jesus plus does not equal Jesus. With God, there's no mixture. He adds nothing to his Son. He brings nothing on the scene. He has his Son and his Son alone. All right, so the Corinthian church were kind of caught up in a dust storm, if you will, of the flesh, of humanity, of the ground, of the dirt. And so anyway, they were questioning whether even Paul was sent of God or Paul whether the ministry that Paul served was valid or not, which we already know that of course it was valid. All right, so concerning the terms unapproved and approved, or the terms that's used in Corinthians, reprobate or approved, because that's what they were accusing, Paul of, not being unapproved, being reprobate, and they were seeing themselves as approved. And so there's two ways of looking at these terms, unapproved and approved, or reprobate and approved. And that's basically, in the first way, it's being a genuine born-again believer. All right, what do I mean by that? The first man, Adam, this is like a no-brainer exam. The first man, Adam, God created him to be a testimony of his Son, to be a testimony of Christ there, right there. Not filled with anything, but to be a testimony of God's Son. God created man in his own image, the only image that God presents to anybody, the one sole perfect image, Christ himself, the image of the indwelling God, the image of the invisible God. There we go. All right, this is Christ himself. We know what Adam did. He partakes of the tree of death and completely butchers that image. And he shows up like this. Nothing like the image that God created him after. Nothing like what God was after, like a perfect picture of Jesus. And Adam, with the help of the enemy, the Satan, takes a magic marker and starts drawing, adding to Jesus. And so Jesus plus no longer equals Jesus. Jesus plus no longer equals Jesus. All right, so first man, Adam, approved or unapproved of God?
He was approved at first. He was very good.
Yes, but because of the fall, unapproved. Unapproved, yeah, yes, totally unapproved. Christ, approved or unapproved? Approved, always. Yeah. See, I told you it was a no-brainer. Christ, he's always approved. Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. Christ is the only one who's approved of the Father. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. He has God's seal of approval. The Holy Spirit descends like a dove and remains solely upon him, remains upon him. God's very own seal of approval. All right, so now you have a born-again believer like the Corinthian church, and regardless of what the church believes, regardless of what the believer believes, after being born again, of course, you have to believe that there is a God and that God sent his Son for new birth. But once the believer, once the soul is born again, God never went with what we believed in the first place. He knows that the thoughts of man are futile. He knows that the thoughts of the heart are continually wicked, evil in all its ways. God never approved these thoughts at all. All right? So the born-again believer, if our heart submits to this natural mind, continues learning by the way we were taught before we were born again. An easy example of this, I don't know what grade you're taught this. It's like either kindergarten, first grade, I don't know, 1 plus 1. 1 and 1 is 2. That's everyone agrees upon that, and that's what we learn with a natural mind. And with a natural mind, you say, yeah, 1 and 1 is 2. And yet, Jesus says, I and my Father are one. That doesn't fit into this box. Reality doesn't fit into this box. It was never meant to. All right? The natural mind, approved or unapproved of God? Unapproved. Thank you. Unapproved. Completely unapproved. Why? Because God comes along in Isaiah and says, your ways are not my ways. Your thoughts are not my thoughts. And never will be. Our natural mind, regardless of how much we develop it, regardless of how much we learn, even with this, and we'll get to that in a second, even with this, our natural mind will never, nunca, never develop into the mind of Christ. It's impossible. It's either one or the other. One or the other. With God, His Son, light. Our mind, darkness. Above, light. Below, darkness. One or the other. It's one or the other. But once again, by the miracle of new birth, Paul, declaring the heavenly mind, declares, but we, those who are born again, have the mind of Christ. The question is always, for those who are born again, what is our heart being submitted unto? Our mind, everything that we know, that we've developed, that we've learned, or is our heart submitted unto listen to this, unto a foreign mind to us? Why do I say foreign? Not familiar. What is familiar to us is everything that was before we were born again. 1 + 1 = 2. That's what's familiar. Or, that's when you're not born again, or what's familiar is darkness. The same mind. There's no change. It's the same mind. Now, here's the big kicker. And Kay made me aware of this during the class, which I totally am grateful for. Here's the big kicker. So we did the natural mind, carnal mind. It's totally unapproved of God. Rejected, reprobate. Yeah, God doesn't look like that. God doesn't look at Ishmael and say, yes, that's my son. No. He doesn't look at Ishmael. He doesn't even consider Ishmael. No. Abraham, take your son. Your one and only son. The only one I acknowledge. Isaac, who is, of course, a type of Christ. And in that beautiful type, he's offered and comes forth in resurrection. So, the natural mind, reprobate, unapproved. Never accepted of God, though we accept our natural mind. Never accepted of God. The mind of Christ, approved of God. The eternal mind, forever approved of God. No, excuse me. Easy test, right? I mean, here we go. It's a no-brainer. Easy test, and no pun intended. Kay said, well, all the questions you asked and all our reasoning and conclusions, guess what? They came from this very natural mind that's unapproved of God. Well, how does that work then? Our God has covered all the bases. From the very beginning, before there was a testimony, there was a substance. God gave a testimony, Adam, first man Adam, and everything found in Adam, a creation, the first creation, the old creation, and everything found in that creation. All this was natural. God gave this, the natural things that we could see with our eyes, hear with our ears, touch with our hands, get this, even taste with our mouth, taste buds. He used natural things to testify of an eternal reality. Because he knew man that's not born again has no clue of, man who's not born again does not have the mind of Christ. Not there. Not there. I heard someone, it might have been Sparks, I can't remember who it was, maybe it was Spurgeon, saying it's like God talking to ants, or like a person talking to ants. That's a totally different kind. They can't hear you, they can't understand. They're just going about doing their thing. No communication there. And that's not as extreme it is between the living and the dead. So God, using these natural things, presents an eternal testimony with natural things. Things that this natural mind can understand, right? Like a physical lamb, a physical ram. And God's example, the Exodus. They're in Egypt, dead among the dead. That's what Egypt is, the abode of the dead. Dead among the dead. And here God sends one to deliver them. This one declaring the good news, the gospel. And all he says basically, he comes doing miracle signs and wonders. They're there, but they're still in Egypt, showing himself to be Lord, even over that which was Lord. Actually, I don't have a serpent up there. Even over that which was Lord in Egypt, right? Remember Pharaoh? Every single Pharaoh's god had a serpent on his head, which in antiquity, a serpent represented wisdom. It's not God's wisdom. The whole deception, the whole folly in the garden. You can be like God, knowing. You can have God's wisdom. You can have God's knowledge. You can have God's understanding. No, you can't. You must be born again. You must partake of the tree of life. For all those who have partaken of the tree of life, you have the mind of Christ. So anyway, here comes the one whom God sends, declaring the good news, and they say this: all you have to do is believe the good news. This is what you do. You take a lamb. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be spotless. No blemish, no nothing. It's got to be as perfect as can be. Why? Because Adam is not perfect at all. You have to find something that's outside of you, because you're not perfect. Spotless lamb. And what do we do? What do we do with this lamb? Just grab it, show it to God? No. This lamb has to die. He has to die. And in his death, he brings in himself this whole, here we go, green. He brings in himself this whole entire condition to an end. The death of death. You put the blood on the doorposts, plural, and lintel. I know I'm going to get corrected by James. I'm not a carpenter. I always get them mixed up. It's doorposts and lintel, top. They should have just called it top. I understand that. It's easier for me, right? It's easier for me. I'm down here. So that's all they had to do. They had to believe in God's salvation. And in testimony, hey, one sacrifice from all the who knows how many lambs, God recognized it as one single sacrifice. And not only that, God said, you slay the Passover lamb, put the blood on the doorposts and lintel, go in through the door, and you partake of the lamb. You eat the lamb. And that is, in testimony, Christ in you. You've received God's very own salvation. You are, in God's eyes, at that point, it was a testimony of being born again. Whether they knew it, understood it, figured it out, or not. This is what God knows, and what God knows is what matters. He doesn't care about what we know. It was darkness. It continues to be darkness. God doesn't care about what I know. What I know is darkness. What he cares, though, is whether my heart, by his Spirit, will begin to submit to his mind, what he knows, the truth, light. Christ. And so it's a great miracle of God that takes place. So they believe the gospel. They are in testimony born again. They didn't do this. God did this. God provided everything. At the moment of new birth, and so like now you've got like a believer, and see, here's the order right here. Christ comes into the soul, And because Christ is present, remember they partook of the lamb, they ate of the Passover lamb because Christ is present. Now that soul is found in salvation. And this is where you have the Apostle Paul saying things like, raised up, we know the verse, raised up, seated together in heavenly places in Christ Jesus. Well, he didn't just make that up. Because there's another verse in Exodus when they came through the death, and then they came through the burial, the Red Sea, right? Burial. And 3 days, that's what God told Moses to tell Pharaoh. Let my people go on a 3-day journey to sacrifice to me. Pharaoh obviously didn't know what the 3-day journey was, nor did the children of Israel either. All right, God knew. God knew. And that's the thing. We may not always fully get the whole picture that God knows, but we get bits and fragments of it. Okay, basically God is saying, we're going to be out of here. And he's telling Pharaoh, God is calling the shots at this point. Pharaoh is no longer calling the shots. Our God is. Destroys the powers of Egypt with the Passover, broke the staff of Egypt. He brought death, the state and condition that our soul was held in bondage to, was captive to, they could not escape. 400 years, they could not do anything to leave that. God took the initiative and did what no man could do. Brought that state and condition of death to death. It is the death of death. We know this. What is dead must be buried. There's the burial, the Red Sea. He tells the children of Israel, look, these Egyptians that you see, because they saw it. They saw all the power that had held them before, trying to come and take them back to the same. And they were fearful. And God tells them, look, these Egyptians you see today, you will see again no more forever. But why? Because that's God's view. He already saw the death of the lamb. He already acknowledged the blood. Right? There was the Passover. He acknowledged the blood. That just wasn't their view, right? Their view, my view. It's not my view. It's not your view. That's God's view. God's view is His Son. God's view is the truth, who is His Son. And so sure enough, at the Red Sea, all Israel goes through, comes out of the burial in resurrection the third day, though they realize it or not, though they know it or not. And what about everything else of death? Buried, did not come out. A testimony of what God already knew. And God provided that testimony for the children of Israel so they could, begin to consider something. You know what? I think God is true. I think He did deliver us. When that Passover lamb was slain, I think God actually did something. And I'm not too, like if I was an Israelite or a Hebrew at that time, I was like, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I think something happened because you know what, guys? We're not in Egypt anymore. It's like, what is it, the Wizard of Oz? Hey, we're not in Egypt anymore, guys. Something happened. I don't know what happened, but something happened. I may not have the full understanding of what happened. And with my mind, your mind, guess what? We never will. Because this is what God knows. God knows the truth. Whether we, with our natural mind, get it or not. And guess what? We never get it. All we can get is the testimony about. That's the key word, and it's right there in the Greek, about. We can understand this testimony about Jesus. 3 days, death, burial, resurrection. Yes, Israel is my son. 3-day journey. Yes, oh wow, yeah, I'm connecting the dots with the natural mind. Well, good for you. Here we, think, great, But that's still not the mind of Christ. That's still, remember from our exam, that's still reprobate. That's still unapproved of God. But what does this testimony do? It does what everything God has presented and designed to do. To get the full attention of our heart, to direct our heart, and cause our heart, here we go, by a miracle of God. All this is by a miracle of God. I can't do this, you can't do this. To consider Jesus. I mean, we consider everything else below with a natural mind. It takes a miracle of God every single time to consider Jesus. It does. It does. It takes a miracle of God for one to say Jesus is Lord. It does. Especially for a Jew. I think during the conference, was it Joey asked Kay or somebody, it's like, did Jesus ever actually say that he was God? And I think Kay asked me the question. I was like, he did more than that. I mean, he pissed the Jews off. He just didn't say, I am God. He said, I'm not only God, I'm the very God that you say you worship. Before Abraham was, I am. That's why they got so pissed at him. Because the I am is the one they supposedly worshiped and served. Whoa. Yeah. Big, I mean, that's not a slap in the face. That's like, give me a Louisville Slugger and let me play ball with your head. You know? They got really upset with him. And yet he was just declaring who he is. They didn't recognize him. Like, natural mind will not recognize God. All we recognize is death. I mean, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life are in the midst of the garden. What does Adam recognize? I know it was Eve, but Eve, as joined to Adam, is Adam. What did Adam recognize? Death. With a natural mind, what do we recognize? Death. What is familiar? Death. Not to God. Death is foreign to God. Life is what God recognizes. Jesus is the only life there ever was, there ever is, and ever will be. And I know that our doctors say contrary, even our Christian doctors. They say, well, if you have brain function, if your heart beats, if your lungs expand and contract with air, he's alive. And God says, if my son isn't present, he's dead. We have it all backwards. We call death life. God doesn't. We're all mixed up. This natural mind is totally screwed up in all its ways. God's mind isn't a scrambled egg. Remember the commercial? Hey, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs, right? Yeah. No, you're too young for that one. No, God's not mixed up. We're the ones who have mixture. It's like we're the ones who ate and believed the lie. You know, God says, look, you eat of this tree, you're going to die. The enemy comes, the devil comes and says, you know what? You're not going to die. You're going to be like God. You can be like Jesus. The great deception. Adam ate the lie. And Adam was, well, I don't know what he was like, but it was like, you know what? I think, therefore I am. I don't think so, Adam. You just partook of death. You're dead. I don't care what you think. Your mind is a complete lie. That's what God knows. It's not the mind of Christ. So the order is not we live, we die, and carnal Christianity, we go be with Jesus someday. That's not the order at all. We know that. Well, it's not even the order of we live and we die. No. The order is you are born dead. You guys get that? That's God's order. You are born dead. And by a miracle of God, at some point, God by His Spirit takes the initiative, does what you cannot do, and provides life. This is your beginning. That's what He told the children of Israel. This is your beginning, the 3rd month. This will be your beginning of months. This is your beginning, because beginning begins with life. Then you take it all the way with Jesus, with Lazarus, who was He talking to? Maybe He was talking to everybody. He who believes in me, right? Lazarus dead, among the dead. He's in the tomb 4 days. Everybody's convinced by this point, he's dead. And I was reading this just last night or this morning or sometime in between. I was reading it again, and it said when they told him Lazarus is dead, it's like, okay, we'll hang out for 4 more days. But this right before that says, Mary, Martha, and Lazarus, whom Jesus loved. And Jesus obviously could have gone and healed him. But there was something greater at stake. It was God's glory. And so 4 days later, Jesus shows up. Hey, he's dead. 4 days. He stinks. One of his, was it Mary, Martha? I think it might have been Martha. Hey, he stinks. 4 days. He's dead. We're all convinced he's dead. And it said it troubled Jesus. And forgive me, I can't remember if it troubled him before that statement or after the statement. But somewhere around there, if you read it, John chapter 11, he's troubled. Because here's one vessel that's dead in the eyes of the other vessels that are also dead. And they're saying, oh my gosh, Jesus, if you'd come here, he wouldn't have died. You don't get it. You don't understand, guys. You're all dead. You say Lazarus is dead because he doesn't have a heartbeat anymore, and because his lungs aren't filling up with air anymore? You're as dead as he is. I'm the only life there is. That's what he said. I'm the resurrection and the life. So if he says that he's the resurrection, that means there is no other resurrection, period. If he says that he is the life, that means that there is no other life, period. And I know, as believers, especially, forgive us, those educated, well, I can't say forgive us, I'm not totally educated and scholarly level. No. Remember, here's where I've attained to. Well, I might not even be on a rung yet. To try to appease the world, the reprobates who aren't even born again, the heathen. Yes, we'll call it spiritual life. You have to be born again. Saying that to an unbeliever. Why? Well, so you can have life. Are you out of your mind? I'm alive. That's what I said before I was born again. Well, okay, spiritual life then. Oh, okay, something that I don't have yet. Mixture. Agreeing with the heathen. That's not God's definition. Remember, Christ, life. Not Christ, not life. With God, it's simple. And yet Jesus comes and he says, he who believes in me. And that's why Jesus set it up. That's why he didn't immediately go and help Lazarus. He set it up. He of whoever among the dead that believes in me. I love the King James. Though he were dead, yet, here we go, shall he live. The order of God is dead until God takes the initiative by his Spirit, performs a miracle. You receive Christ, born again, life. And then the Spirit of God works from that moment onward to bring our hearts from being submitted to darkness and ignorance to the light of life, the mind of Christ. Not what I know, but what God knows. Right? He who believes in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live, because I live. And he who lives, because he lives by me, shall never die. Because the life they've received, having died once, dieth no more. And there's the eternal kingdom that the Jews were waiting for. There is the eternal kingdom that they were expecting with the coming of the Messiah. They just didn't understand that he had to fulfill the entirety of the testimony, not just the part they wanted. To get to the part they wanted, he had to die, right? Children of Israel in Egypt, miracle signs, wonders, God showing his very self to be Lord, even over the dead. And yet till that Passover lamb was crucified, they're still in Egypt. And so, yeah. Jesus told, forgive me, I think it was Martha or Mary. I always get those sisters mixed up. He told one of the sisters, let's put it that way, it's easier. He said, didn't I tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God? John chapter 11. And so at one point, it's like, because trying to exercise my Judaizer mind, going to the scriptures, trying to find this, where was the glory of God seen? I don't see it. It's like, that's what Jesus said, where was he even talking about it? And yet here he says, didn't I tell you if you believed you would see the glory of God? Well, here's the glory of God. The living one comes to the dead, comes to those who are in their graves, right? And declares to the soul, Lazarus, come forth. By a miracle of God, the dead hear the sound of the voice of the Son of the living God, requires a miracle. And not only that, requires a miracle not only to hear, but to respond to that very voice. Miracle. And yet, when the response is obedience, that's the response. When the soul responds, it comes forth by the power of the resurrection, having life. And there is the glory of God seen. Not only that, because though they recognized it, I got to do this, though they recognized it or not, remember, it doesn't matter what we know, it doesn't matter what we knew. In testimony, Lazarus partook of that Passover lamb. And this is Christ in you, the expectation of the glory that all Israel was waiting for. So back to the children of Israel, right? The Exodus, 3-day journey, death, burial, resurrection. God, 3 months, this is like 3 months. Like I said, whether they fully understood, they didn't fully understand anything. None of us do. God understands all things. That should be good with us. It's like, no, I don't got it together. He's got it together. He's always had it together. No, I don't hold me. No, he holds me. He's always held me since the moment I was born again. He's got it together. I don't have to get it together. Because me getting it together depends on the arm of the flesh. Deceitful. That's not strength at all. We just think it is. 3 months later, you saw what I did to the Egyptians. This is what God speaking to Moses to tell the children of Israel. You saw what I did to the Egyptians. Hey, all the miracle signs and wonders, the death of the firstborn, the burial at the Red Sea. And he doesn't leave it there. And how that I, and I love this, it's not you didn't do this. You didn't even help me. I brought you upon eagle's wings unto myself. This is what our God knows. This is not what we know. This is what He knows. What He knows matters. From this point onward, after having believed the gospel, after having received God's one and only sacrifice, from this point onward, from that very moment onward, God declares to the children of Israel, for one, but to all of us, we know they took 40 laps. No, forgive me, not 40 laps. Who knows how many laps in the wilderness? They took laps in the wilderness for 40 years. That's it, 40 years, a whole generation. And I like that. I'll get to that in a second. Till He dropped, right? And in the midst of all that time, the Lord says, hey, during that whole entire time, you lacked nothing. Because all fullness, all abundance has been present the moment you partook of my salvation. Whether you understood or not, whether you realized it or not, whether you saw it or not, I know the truth. "40 years of an unbelieving generation." Look at and this is not to like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be part of that generation. No, look. 40 years, this is what this represents. 40 years, an unbelieving generation. This does not attain unto the mind of Christ. No. My mind, your mind never becomes the eternal mind. It never evolves into, not even by osmosis. No, always one or the other. This mind is always rejected of God. This remains, stays, even like death in reality remained dead among the dead. And only life came forth. There's no death. With God, there's no mixture. There is no death in those who are born again. If the soul isn't born again, sorry, you must be born again, because until you're born again, you are dead. But having been born again, having received eternal life, the life we have received no longer dies. That life died once. I know we have it all backwards. I know we do. But our God doesn't, and that's a good thing. He's got it together all the time, whether we do or not. We don't have to. He never gave that burden to us to carry. We don't have to have it together. He's got it together. And not only that, but this will kind of blow your mind. Psalm 23, I'll just read a little part of it. I'll get there. Give me a second. Psalm, because I've been considering this. For one, it's because Jesus said it. They are they that testify of me, so they obviously don't testify of us. It's either us or Him. Testifies of Him. I haven't fully looked at all the Psalms this way, but we could accurately look at the Psalms this way, and once again, accurately with a natural mind, and hopefully seeing the testimony, our heart be brought to the eternal mind. Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. This is our God. Listen, the one declaring this in testimony is the one we have received. These are the Psalms of the Christ. The one declaring this is not me, was not like literally David who is dead among the dead. No, David was a testimony of Jesus. Yeah, Psalm of David. He's a testimony of Jesus. But listen to this, the Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. This is the Son speaking of his Father, my Lord. Even as David said, David said it, the Lord said to my Lord, the Lord said to my Lord, or the Lord said to my Lord. Whoa, wait. David, I thought you were Lord. No, I'm not Lord. Come on, guys. No. This is Jesus. This is the eternal one. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. And this very one who says I lack nothing is the very one who is our life. And because he is our life, get this, we lack nothing. He goes on. He takes me to lush pastures. He leads me to refreshing water. He restores my strength. He leads me down the right paths for the sake of his reputation. Even when I must walk through the dark valley, we know it as the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no danger. I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they reassure me. They comfort me. I mean, we know it quoted by King James. Everybody knows it that way. You can look around with your natural eyes and completely understand what you're seeing with a natural brain, the natural mind, the mind of the first man, Adam. And what you will see and what you will understand, whether you acknowledge it or not, whether you believe it or not, is the valley of the shadow of death. When Jesus was sent of the Father, here is the valley of the shadow of death, everything that is below. Right? Below darkness, above light. Below ignorance, above knowledge. I mean, I say below, everything below the eternal cross, and above everything above the eternal cross. And in a moment of time, that eternal cross was made manifest in what we call the crucifixion. But there is always an extreme below and above. My thoughts are higher than your thoughts. You cannot attain to my thoughts. It's either one or the other. Pretty wild, huh? And people think that they read these at funerals. They think that, oh, this brother, this sister, or this non-believer, who knows, oh, lo, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you're with me. No. This was Jesus when he walked among the dead. Remember, Jesus came to Lazarus, who was dead. Everybody around there, they have no clue. Jesus is like, Lord, if you'd been here, my brother would not have died. Mary, Martha, you friends of Mary and Martha and Lazarus, you don't understand. You're all dead. I'm the only life there is. In fact, I'm the resurrection and the life. And then I love this. He leaves it with, do you believe this? They didn't. They couldn't comprehend it with a natural mind. We can't even comprehend it with a natural mind. But that's the truth. I mean, either Jesus is true or he's a liar. He's either true or he's a lunatic. He's true. He is truth. And then it said at some point, Jesus wept. Oh, look how he loved Lazarus. Well, yeah, that might have been in there, but it was more like weeping, like, guys, have I been with you so long, and you still don't know me? I mean, that's another way of saying it that he told Thomas. Was it Thomas or was it Philip? Forgive me, I can't remember which disciple. It was like, have I been with you so long, and haven't you recognized that I'm the resurrection that you've been waiting for? And I'm also the life that comes because of the power of this resurrection that I am. I'm that very Lamb that in testimony brought you out of Egypt And you thought that was great? No, you haven't seen anything yet. I'm the greatness that far exceeds the testimony you've believed. The land of the living is above, is Christ himself. Every single soul, every single person that is born again has been birthed, listen, by God into the land of the living. Yes, I don't care about this natural tabernacle, this earthly tabernacle that someday we're all going to put off. No. We think this is life. I mean, I drove up here in a black truck. I didn't always own that black truck. It gets me from point A to point B. Before I owned a gray truck, right? Before the gray truck, I owned a red rodeo. Before the red rodeo, I owned a brown Mazda RX-7, which, by the way, I finally, what do you call it? Got rid of it. No, I didn't get rid of it. I retired it in Mazda heaven. I kid you not. It's in Texas. Yeah. A vessel that gets me from point A to point B, when it's run its course, I get a different one. I didn't cry over losing a vehicle. No one else did. I was excited about the new vehicle that I got at the time. And that comes so far short. We have a body that is not wearing out, that is not of decay, that will never be put off. But we're so familiar with what is temporal. Familiar. And hey, that's fine. Why? Because God knows the truth. The question is do we want to know the truth? I mean, that's not a like, pep rally, let's all get pumped up and go for Jesus or whatever. No. It's just a simple thing. Do we want to know the truth? Jesus said, "He who follows me shall not walk in darkness." Here we go. Not walk in darkness below, but shall have the light of life. Our God is good. More good than even our definition of good. More good than our definition of good. He far exceeds everything and anything that we have ever thought or even conceived of with a natural mind. He far exceeds it. Remember? Life. Our definition of life falls so short of his definition of life. And yet his Spirit remains faithful. Jesus said, when he, the Spirit of truth comes, he will lead you, he will guide you. Here we go. Heart turns to the Lord. He will guide you into all truth. And according to God, all truth is all of Jesus. And not only all of Jesus, but for those who are born again, all of Jesus you received the moment of new birth. Whether you understood what happened or not, God does. He's got it together. So, please present it all to the Holy Spirit. A lot of information that you may have got or you may have not got. It doesn't matter whether you get it or not. What matters is if it's true, if it is of God, then it will and must serve God's purpose to do something in our heart so that the Spirit of God can take our heart and bring it unto the truth. Or I'll say it this way. Bring our heart in knowledge from our knowledge unto God's knowledge, where God himself, at the moment of new birth, has brought our soul in reality. The moment of new birth. All right. Lord bless. That's it. Amen.